Hello, Facebook and Instagram. Welcome to Peaceful Living Wellness's Facebook and Instagram Live Wellness Wednesday. This week, we are talking about those times when you need to make a U-turn in your life. So, before I begin, though, I want to give a couple of shout-outs to some really cool things that I have discovered in my dear hometown of Charleston, South Carolina. If you are a local resident or if you come to visit, Charleston is one of the top tourist destinations in the country. I really highly recommend checking out Still Soul Yoga Studio. Sorry, I just got the name wrong. I can't believe I did that. Still Soul Meditation Studio. I went to a 2-hour hot stone restorative yoga. That's why I call it yoga studio. Restorative yoga workshop on Saturday, and it was amazing. And it wasn't just the workshop was wonderful. Natasha, the teacher, was great. Christine, the assistant, was she was just effervescent. I'm stealing my dear friend Brittany's word. But the space itself is amazing. It's just blissful. It is a place where you can still your soul. And I get to meet with Kelly, the owner, on Monday, just to chat and get to know each other. I might be holding some workshops there. But what is so very cool about that is, here's our West Coast connection. Kelly trained at the Chopra Center in Carlsbad, one of the places that I also trained. So we have that wonderful Chopra connection. Okay, so that's my plug for the day for somebody else. And I also, of course, like to plug my own stuff, and wanted to let you know that the blog this week is going to be on the same topic as the lives. And this is about making a U-turn in your mindset. So we'll be talking about that today. And I'm going to give some examples from my life and from my clients' lives, and maybe even a friend or two, to show how, you know what, sometimes we got to turn that thinking around. So that's what we're talking about. And for more on it, of course, please subscribe to the blog at peacefullivingwellness.com. That's peacefullivingwellness.com. And anywhere you see something that's a freebie. So what's a freebie? It could be a free stress assessment. It could be a free intimacy checklist. Hi, darling Priscilla. It could be my top 5 tips for living. I have lots of wonderful freebies. Priscilla, who just jumped on our live here, is the owner of another amazing local business I talked about last week, the Red Carpet Day Spa. I went in and had a foot detox. If you didn't see that, the pictures, check it out in my feed, because I definitely needed some detoxing. It was really amazing. Let's call it amazing. And a wonderful, wonderful detoxing massage by her massage therapist, Sean. So again, if you're local, sorry about scratching my nose. My allergies are out of control right now. If you're local in the Charleston, Summerville area, Goose Creek, Ladson, definitely check out Red Carpet Day Spa. It is just a gem. All right, enough plugging. Let's get on to, oh, they just closed the schools. Well, here's the topic for today: when you have to make a U-turn in your life. So yesterday I was driving, frantically trying, hi Laura. So Laura, they just closed the schools tomorrow, and I am talking about how we have to make a U-turn in our thinking sometimes. I was driving like a mad woman yesterday morning, trying to get down to a place that's about 45 minutes from here called Daniel Island for a meeting. And it was one of those mornings. My alarm went off late, the kids needed stuff, and I just wasn't making it on time. So I kind of reworked my day. Yeah, you know what those days are like. I reworked my day, and I decided, okay, but because I'm reworking things, I can go and do the meeting I was supposed to do via video chatting. and I'm going to just go around the corner to my favorite local coffee shop, the Rustic Muffin. Here I am plugging yet another local business. I can't help it. These places are wonderful, and I'm so lucky to live by them. So again, if you're in the neighborhood, go check out the Rustic Muffin. Oh, or if you're even a little bit farther away, they have authentic New York style bagels. Now, as a Californian, I cannot attest to the authenticity. What I can attest to is that they are delicious, absolutely delicious. And they have one that is sprouted whole grain. Yum, so it's healthy for you too. And it has a little bit of raisin in it. So it makes it a little, sweet too. Okay, enough. So I'm heading towards the Rustic Muffin. Hi, Anne. And I turn the corner and everything stopped. Hi, Kelly. Miss you, girl. Everything stopped. Backed up traffic. This is like a country road. What the heck? Why is there backed up traffic? Well, I see the flashers up ahead, right? And all I can think is, if I go much further, I'm going to get stuck in that. So guess what? I'm going to do a U-turn. Don't tell the Berkeley County Sheriff. I probably wasn't a legal U-turn, but I always do legal U-turns, Sheriff's Office. This one, I just needed to not be in that traffic. So I made a safe U-turn, and I decided, you know what? I'm just going to have to go to Starbucks down in Somerville instead. But it wasn't just the physical U-turn that I had to do. It was also a U-turn in my mindset, because I was white knuckling it on the steering wheel, and I was feeling very frantic and very rushed. And I had to do a little self-coaching and remind myself, I don't do this anymore. I don't live my life this way anymore. I can't afford to, because if I keep living my life this way, I will shut my pancreas down. If you didn't read my story about how stress nearly killed my pancreas, oh, hi, Rebecca. California's jumping in today. Well, in Washington, the West Coast. Please check out the blog, peacefullivingwellness.com/blog. I have a story about how I nearly shut my pancreas down from stress. And that's why I do what I do. That's why I have to be in this business of wellness. That's why I had to make a huge U-turn. Don't know why the dog is barking. A huge U-turn in my life, because I was killing myself with stress. Now, not all of us are killing ourselves with stress. However, many of us are living our lives in a way that over the years, the stress is going to have a deleterious effect on us. It is going to hurt our health. And we may not realize it until it is too late. We may not realize it until we're in our 60s, 70s, and have hypertension. Because what happens with stress is it builds up in our bodies over time. So my stress started as a child because of the chaotic, emotionally crazy household I lived in. Sorry, Mom and Dad, but it's the truth. So then I furthered that with my mindset and how I learned that worry is a state of being. I learned that you have to have a severe reaction to even the small stuff. Kelly, your friend of mine, our best friend, Leslie, she got me a book once that was about don't sweat the small stuff. And I had no idea what the hell she meant by that. I thought it was a criticism, but it wasn't. It was about change your mindset, do a U-turn in your mind, and give up that way of thinking that will harm your health eventually. So what do you do? So you take a deep breath and you relax your hands on the wheel. And in a situation that is minute, yes, when you have a death, Priscilla just jumped in about when you have a death in the family. And actually, Priscilla, I'm glad you said that, because I'm going to expand this conversation in a minute. So I'm talking about right now these little changes, like in the daily decision making. So I had to rearrange my whole morning, and it all worked out just fine. It worked out fine. And that's what we have to remind ourselves. Now, Priscilla jumped in to talk about something big, like a death in the family. You absolutely have to do a huge turn. Because not only do you have to give yourself room to grieve, to mourn, so you have to allow a lot of the other external things that might be plaguing you with stress, you have to just give them a shove. And I don't mean just a little push. I mean a shove. When big things are going on, you have to shove that, part of my language, shit away and say, I do not have the mental space. I do not have the emotional space to be fretting, to be worrying, to be going like this about all these other little things, because something big makes it so that you have to have big changes in your thinking. I'd like to give you another example of something big. So for me, I had to make a big change in my thinking about my career. And many of you know this story. I was an academic. I was in this weird position teaching at a great research university in California. But I say it was a weird position because I wasn't tenure track. I wasn't a researcher. So I was teaching at a research university, which isn't a highly lauded position. I was thought of as kind of just there. I joke that my office was a janitor's closet. I'm pretty sure it was. No windows, just a little hole in the wall. And it was on the outside something that looked like a great career, but on the inside it was not. And it was not fulfilling me. And then I had kids that had special needs that I needed to be dealing with. And again, I was going nuts. So I had to make a huge leap and say, I gotta do something different. Now I got a little kick in the butt to do that. Because of the financial crisis of 2008, I was laid off temporarily. But I took that temporary layoff to change my mindset and say, I'm going to do something completely different. I'm going to do a 180. At that time, I was like, I'm going to be a yoga teacher. Oh, my husband he still isn't okay with that. But I had to do that 180. That's a complete U-turn in my thinking. And at first it was hard, you guys. It was really hard to say, I'm giving up my professional identity. I have all this education that I had used for years as my sense of self-worth, my sense of self-efficacy, and I wasn't using that education anymore. In fact, I don't even put my PhD on my credentials anymore because that's not who I am. That doesn't make up my worth. My worth comes from being able to help other people. That's why I wanted to be in a teaching track. I loved the teaching. I loved working with the kids. Researching stuff that only academics are going to read was not very fulfilling for me. So that was a whole huge traumatic U-turn for me, because mourning, just like you may mourn the death of a person, I had to mourn the death of my professional identity. And it was hard. And I did not do the best job of it. But by putting one foot in front of the other and keeping the university life in my rearview mirror and keeping focused on my U-turn, that helped me move out of it. So same thing when you lose a loved one. If we continue to focus on the loss of that loved one, instead of focusing on, I'm going to U-turn from that loss, keep it in my heart, keep it in my rearview mirror to know that I'm still honoring that person, to know that I'm still honoring that career. I didn't just say, oh, you know what, forget it, frick this, right? That didn't exist. You know, a lot of people do that. They'll say, I'm just not remembering that part of my life. That just didn't exist. I'm somebody completely new, completely recreated an identity. But in my humble opinion, you don't ever completely recreate your identity. You don't ever completely lose sight of honoring and treasuring a lost loved one. You still keep that in a place, hey, Grace, of I got this and it's okay. You keep it in a place of, I'm glad I did this and it made up a part of my life and it is part of who I was. But you're still in that U-turn. You're still in a U-turn with that. So I'm wondering what some other things are that have come up in your lives that are ways that you need to U-turn or ways that you have U-turned. And I want to give one last quick story. I know we're getting on in time, but I want to give one last quick story about a friend of mine who I actually called out incorrectly about something. So this is by way of an apology as well. She usually jumps on my videos. I think she's struggling with a headboard right at the moment. Long story. But my friend Cynthia, we're out to dinner the other night with another friend, and I don't know how it came up, but we were talking about risk taking. And I said, oh, Cynthia's not a risk taker at all. And she goes, yes, I am. And of course, I was being a dumbass and not being a very good friend. But as I was thinking about, well, why did I think that about Cynthia? Hi, Kelly Trent. Oh, brave woman. Oh, love Kelly Trent. So why did I think that about my dear friend Cynthia? Because in fact, this woman has made several very successful U-turns. She changed her career from being a nurse to being a social media expert and consultant. That was before I met her. When I met her, she was just shutting down that business, that social media consulting business, and saying, I got to do something different. But she didn't know what she was going to do. And after some time, she figured out, well, I'm going to make soap now. So that sounds a little funny. I'm going to make soap. But of course, because she's my dear friend Cynthia, who is amazing, she created this business called Dahlia Bath Boutique. When she created these amazing, beautiful soaps and lotions and bath bombs and what are those fizzy things? Oh, bath bombs. There's bath bombs is what I meant to say, not bath bomb. And then her husband gets a job offer in Singapore. And she has to do a U-turn again because she can't move her whole soap production over to Singapore. She says, okay, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to go to Singapore and see what there is to see. So she's right. She is a huge risk taker. But, and here's the moral of my story. Why I didn't originally think of her as a risk taker is because Cynthia does these things with clear eyes and a pure heart. Yeah, I did get that from Friday Night Lights. I love that. Clear eyes and a pure heart. She does it where she's taking a risk, but she doesn't freak out about it. She doesn't worry about it. She doesn't stress herself out about it. She keeps her eyes clear and says, this is okay. I have a wide vision of what I'm going to do. I have a wide vision in the case of I'm shutting down my social media consulting business and going to do something else. I have a wide vision of just allowing myself to be open to what may come, clear eyes, open to what may come. And I have a pure heart that I know I have the inner strength, the inner wisdom to be able to do this U-turn, to be able to do this 180 and know that it's not going to completely destroy my life. And that's the moral of all of these stories. That even when we do a mindset 180, whether it's in our daily adventures, like for me yesterday, I had to do a U-turn in the road, I had to do a U-turn in my mindset, or whether it's in these bigger picture things where we've lost a loved one, we've lost a career, or we've specifically chosen to leave that career behind, or it could be anything else that's like that. It's about having the clear eyes and the pure heart. It's about having the grace and the wisdom. And it's about trusting yourself. That's the key. Trusting yourself to have the clear eyes, the pure heart, and the wisdom. So that's my story for today. That's what's in the blog. I'd love for you to read it. If you are not subscribed to the blog, please do so at peacefullivingwellness.com/blog/freebies. You can choose what freebie you want. And please, as always, I am so grateful for your shares. The wider I can build this tribe, the better this is. The more we can share these lessons I've learned from not only my own life, but from all of you guys. You guys inspire what I'm sharing. So the more we can spread this around, it's just about spreading what you're giving to me. I'm just the channel. I'm just the voice. So thank you again. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. And if you are on the East Coast in the South, stay safe this weekend because we have another hurricane coming in. Charleston, it's just going to be a tropical storm. We'll be fine. But everybody just take care, stay safe, and namaste. Thanks, guys. It won't let me end the video. I guess we're staying live on Facebook for forever. There we go.